one of the trainees at work today, one of the students that I was teaching, gave me a compliment that I've never heard before, and I thought it'd be interesting to share. So at work we do presentations, but sometimes we separate into different breakouts, which means that we take a portion of the class and we do a hands-on demonstration of a topic that we're explaining, where we'll bring volunteers in and they'll get a chance to practice some of those actions. So I had a pretty stacked day today. I did one upfront presentation and then three different hands-on, because one of them is a 2-in-1. It's about 2 hours of speaking in total. And, oh wow, I'm really blown out there. I should set this to auto, but I'll just do this manually for now. So I'm doing these presentations and they're going pretty well. Like I'm actually well rested. I'm articulating properly. And it seems like the people I'm training are getting the necessary information. But there's one lady in my class. She keeps asking me questions. And they're not like annoying questions or anything. She's just genuinely trying to understand the material because she wants to do a good job. And it was really interesting interacting with her because she made it seem like she wouldn't be competent at the task. Like she wouldn't be good at the job after receiving her training. And I found, my perception was that she was actually one of the most competent people we've had so far. Not necessarily because of her knowledge or her ability, but simply because of her willingness to learn, her enthusiasm for it. So by the end of my presentations, her and I had a brief discussion, and she mentioned, yeah, I'm just trying to get all this information because I feel like I'm not gonna know everything I need to when I'm out in the field. And I told her, I said, to be quite honest, based on the last couple hands-on presentations we've done, I have a feeling people out in the field are going to be asking you questions because you're going to have a better understanding than they will. And she said something, I'm kind of paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words, but she said something like, well, I'm just the type of person who, if they see a fire, they run towards it. There's two types of people. There's lions and there's lambs or something like that. And, actually, you're one of them too. She said this in reference to me. And I said, really? Well, I certainly don't feel like that most of the time. And she's like, no, you definitely are. And so that felt really nice to hear. And it stuck with me for a bit. And I spent some time trying to analyze what that actually meant to be someone who runs towards a fire. And I suppose there's different examples of that someone could I don't even know what I'm saying. There's different examples of that. Okay, so in a literal sense, if there's an emergency happening, you might be someone who acts right away and can do so decisively, or you might freeze up, or you might run away. And by the way, there's no value judgment for any of these because sometimes we can't necessarily control how we react. I feel like there are moments where I can step in a crisis moment, and there are many moments where I have no idea what to do. I don't react at all. And, I might kick myself later and say, oh man, I should have done something differently. I think a lot of us can relate to that. But you can't always control that reaction in the moment. But I think there's an added element to that too, rather than simply just reacting to something quickly right when it happens. There's also how willing you are to face adversity in the long term. So for example, this job that I'm doing right now, without going into too much detail, it's public speaking. It was something I thought I was going to quit in the first few days. I've said this before about a couple different jobs actually. But I stuck it out and I realized I could actually do it. But a lot of people, they have that initial inclination. Like, this is uncomfortable, this is too hard, and I don't want to do it. And so I'm going to give up and quit. And you don't step towards the fire. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that being able to adopt the mentality, even if it's not just a knee-jerk reaction in the moment, being able to adopt the mentality of, I'm going to walk towards something that I know is going to make me really uncomfortable, is an incredibly valuable skill to have. The video I made last night was discussing why it's so hard to make friends. And if you want to look at that whole discussion, then you can check that out. I can link that in the description. But at the very end of the video, one of the things I brought up as solutions to having a hard time making friends is getting involved in some kind of certification process or training, because you go through a mutually difficult experience that requires a certain level of camaraderie and care from the people around you. Like, everyone is there because they want to be. Whereas in other circumstances, usually if it's something leisurely or fun, then it's a lot harder to build a strong bond in that circumstance. So that's just a long-winded way of me saying that it's really important to keep stepping towards things that are challenging for you. And that doesn't mean you have to hold yourself to a standard that someone else does. For me, public speaking has gotten a lot easier. It's still a challenge for me, but for other people, that might be impossible. Just standing up and talking in front of 3 people might be really hard. So in some ways, someone who is willing to get up and talk in front of 3 people is way more accomplished than me being able to talk in front of 25 or 50 or 100. Because the threshold for discomfort is much stronger. This is why in a lot of pastimes and activities that people do, the most exciting part is the beginning, because they don't know anything. They're gaining tons and tons of experience right from the get-go, and then it becomes a process of diminishing returns. One of my personal struggles is I have a tendency to start things and become really passionate about them, but then I lose interest because I realize how hard the next level is and how little I'm going to gain as a result of remaining dedicated to that craft. Obviously, people who are super accomplished, they stick through it no matter what, and they keep climbing those precipices, even if they get smaller and smaller each time with more and more effort. Okay, I know I said a lot there, kind of a word salad, but anyways, I thought that was a nice compliment for me to receive from a total stranger, and I just wanted to pass on my thoughts regarding that to you, because I hope that it serves you in some way. I have a feeling if you're watching this video, there is probably some aspect in you that might be a lion. Like, obviously watching a video on YouTube is not very risky, but perhaps you have a quality of wanting to step towards a fire. And if you don't, then this is my gentle nudge in that direction for you to try to push yourself. All right? That's all I have to share for this evening. If you want to chat more, I go live on Twitch. I will be going live soon, in probably a couple weekends once I'm done with this temporary position. And I also have an email that will be linked in the description. No one has sent me an email on there, despite someone having asked me to create one. So if you send me one, you'll be the first. And then we also have a Discord community. I haven't been very active on it just because I've been super busy, but if you drop in and you say hi in general chat, then next time I'm on there, I'll make sure to start a conversation with you, okay? I hope you have a fantastic evening, whatever time it is for you when you're watching this. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.